Whispers Between the Pines. Chapter 1. The Letter in the Attic. It was the summer of 1952 when Eleanor Whitmore first discovered the letter hidden beneath the floorboards of her father's old farmhouse in rural Pennsylvania. The envelope was yellowed with age, the ink faded but still legible. She didn't know whose hands had written it, nor who it was meant for, but the words inside carried a weight that made her chest tighten and her heart ache in a way she had never felt before. If you are reading this, then perhaps it is too late for us. I promised I would always find you. Yet the world seems determined to keep us apart. My heart belongs to you entirely, and every moment away from you feels like a lifetime lost. I pray that one day, destiny will be kinder than we have been. Eleanor read those lines over and over, the voice on the page whispering secrets of love, longing, and forbidden dreams. She had always thought her father's attic was just a dusty repository of forgotten memories. She had never imagined it held the echo of a love story so profound it could break hearts decades later. And yet, she felt a strange connection to the unknown writer, as if the letter had been meant for her all along. Chapter 2. When James Met Eleanor. It all began in the spring of 1950, in a small town tucked between the rolling hills of Pennsylvania. Eleanor Whitmore was 19, the kind of girl who wore her heart on her sleeve and found poetry in the ordinary. Her laughter echoed down the quiet streets, drawing smiles from strangers and lingering glances from boys who hadn't yet learned how to speak to a girl like her. James Harper was 22, a young man freshly returned from military service in Korea. The war had carved lines of maturity into his face, and though his exterior was calm and controlled, there was a fire in his eyes that spoke of both pain and unyielding hope. They met at a local diner one warm afternoon. Eleanor had dropped her notebook while sketching the view from the window, and James had bent down to pick it up. Their eyes met, and in that moment, neither the years nor the quiet town mattered. "You dropped this," James said, handing her the notebook. His voice was gentle but steady. "Thank you," Eleanor replied, her fingers brushing his for a fleeting second, sending an unexpected shiver up her spine. It was an ordinary encounter, yet it planted a seed that neither of them could ignore. In the weeks that followed, their paths crossed again and again. At the church on Sunday, by the river that ran behind the school, and once, unexpectedly, at the train station where James had come to pick up a friend. Each meeting was a spark, and each spark threatened to ignite a fire neither of them could fully control. But the 1950s were not kind to love like theirs. Families had expectations. Society had rules. And secrets, hidden in letters whispered in the shadows, and tucked beneath the floorboards, were waiting to test their hearts in ways they could never imagine. Chapter 3. The First Letters. By the summer of 1950, James and Eleanor had discovered a quiet rhythm in their secret meetings. They would walk along the banks of the Susquehanna River, sharing dreams, fears, and the small, everyday details of their lives. But there was a distance between them, unspoken, heavy with the weight of expectation. Eleanor's father, a stern man shaped by the Great Depression, had made it clear that her future was to be practical and predictable. James, still haunted by his experiences in Korea, could not openly speak of the turmoil he carried inside. So they wrote. It began with small notes slipped into pockets, tucked into the pages of books, and eventually letters. Each one was a confession, a heartbeat, a secret declaration. Eleanor's handwriting curved and swirled with youthful passion. James's was precise, deliberate, yet softened with tenderness. I was already far past the point of control. He handed me a book. The Great Gatsby. You said you never finished it, he said. You should. I took it, brushing his hand by accident. The moment our skin touched, I felt something like an ache, not lust but recognition. Two people who had both lived too long pretending not to want more. That night, I read the book cover to cover. The story of longing, of missed chances, of people chasing something just beyond reach. It felt too close, too real. I cried quietly in bed, careful not to wake David. In the days that followed, I began to notice small things that frightened me. The way my husband's questions suddenly felt like intrusions. The way my phone felt heavy in my hand when Adam didn't text. The way happiness had started to come with a shadow. One evening, as I stood by the window watching the rain fall, I realized that I was standing at the edge of something vast and dangerous. something that could destroy the life I'd built. And yet, for the first time in years, I didn't feel numb. I felt alive. James, too, felt the pressure mounting. His return from Korea had not erased the whispers of the town. Some saw him as a war hero. Others whispered that the war had changed him too much, that he carried shadows and scars no one could understand. He tried to shield Eleanor from the gossip, but each glance, each comment, each hushed conversation chipped away at the sanctuary they had built in letters and secret walks. It was in those stolen moments, beneath the towering pines outside town, that they whispered their fears. Eleanor's hand rested on James's arm, trembling slightly. Do you think we'll ever be free?" she asked. James looked out at the fading sunlight, his jaw tight. "I don't know, Ellie. But I do know this. I cannot imagine a life without you. Even if the world stands against us, I'll fight for every moment we can have together." And so they continued. The letters grew more passionate, the meetings more secretive. But with each hidden note and whispered word, the weight of reality pressed heavier against their shoulders. The first cracks were beginning to appear. Small misunderstandings, a jealous glance, a word overheard at the church social. What had started as innocent romance was becoming a delicate dance on the edge of heartbreak. By the winter of 1950, their love was both a refuge and a risk. Every touch was stolen, every kiss dangerous, every letter a rebellion. And the world, indifferent to their passion, was beginning to close in. Chapter 5. The Last Goodbye. The winter of 1951 had arrived earlier than expected, blanketing the small Pennsylvania town in cold, gray snow. James and Eleanor met as usual by the frozen river, the pines standing tall and silent around them. But the air between them was heavier than ever. Thomas Whitmore had forbidden Eleanor from seeing James, insisting she focus on finishing her studies and preparing for a proper match with a local young man of good standing. The words cut deep, but Eleanor's heart could not be swayed. "I can't stop loving you, James," she whispered, her voice trembling in the icy wind. "Even if it means we can't be together, even if the world is against us." James took both of her hands in his, gripping them tightly as if letting go would break them both. "Eleanor, I love you more than anything. But I can't fight your father forever. He'll never accept me, and I can't see you hurt because of me." They stayed like that for hours, holding each other, until the sun began to dip beneath the hills. Their breaths formed clouds in the cold air, and every heartbeat felt like it might be the last they shared. In the weeks that followed, letters became their only refuge. But fate, relentless and cruel, intervened. James was offered a job in another state, a chance to start fresh, far from the whispers, the judgment, and the suffocating weight of societal expectation. He could not ask Eleanor to leave her family, her home, or her life behind. Their final meeting was on a snowy afternoon, beneath the pines where they had first shared dreams of a life together. They embraced one last time, tears freezing on their cheeks, hearts breaking in silence. "I'll never forget you," Eleanor whispered. "No matter what happens, you'll always be a part of me." "And you of me," James replied. "Always." He walked away first, leaving Eleanor standing alone in the snow, clutching the letters they had written to each other. Letters that would remain hidden beneath the floorboards for decades, waiting to be discovered. Years passed. Eleanor married a kind man, built a family, and tried to bury the memory of James deep in her heart. James found success in a distant city, but never fully healed from the loss of the love that had defined him. And then, one summer day in 1978, Eleanor's granddaughter discovered a stack of letters hidden beneath the floorboards in the old farmhouse.